We told you, ladies and gentlemen, we were going to give you a part 2 tonight, and here we are back. Now, we gave you our top 5 running backs going into 2011 season. The next question that was proposed today by Mel Kiper on Mel and Dory on ESPN Radio, they were talking about who would you want to be going into a season with your top 5 quarterbacks. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of theirs. They both had Brady number 1. I'll tell you right now, Brady is not number 1 on my list. They had Brady number 1, and what the big argument was, there was 2. They first started off with 5, and then they went 6 through 10, and then Dory had Josh Freeman above Phillip Rivers, and Mel had a big problem with that, and Dory kind of got convinced to change that one. But one he did not change is he had Michael Vick as the number 2 quarterback going into next year. Now, Michael Vick don't make my top 5 list. I understand his reasoning, and I'm glad he didn't back off of his number 2 because that would have looked like he was letting Mel talk him out of it. But he had Peyton Manning number 3 and Michael Vick number 2. Now, Mel had Brady 1, Peyton Manning 2, and I forget who had 3. And I know he had Roethlisberger 5, but somewhere in there. But now I think I'm going to bring a little reasoning to it, and I know KT, I know you will too. 5-1 on my quarterbacks here. I got number 5. I got Aaron Rodgers, and I tell you we'll just give a quick little synopsis of why. But Aaron Rodgers, he's just a gunslinger. He can get out of his pocket. He can move. And when I'm talking about my top 5 quarterbacks, you're not asking me to take their whole team. You're asking me that no matter what, we're not talking about take top 5 offensive lines and then who you want to be your quarterback. No, you're talking about who do you want to be your quarterback no matter what they have to work with. So I got Aaron Rodgers 5, Drew Brees 4, Tom Brady 3, Phillip Rivers 2, and I know KT, hold your comments on that one. I know I finally joined hopped on the bus. You're right, I know. And of course, number 1, I have the smartest quarterback in the history of the NFL, and according to NFL Network, the number 8 player overall of all time, Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning. So KT, a little bit about your opinion on my top 5, and then give us yours.
Well, I love your top 5. I really do. Mine's pretty much the same, just a little bit of a different order. I think we pretty much share the same opinion on quarterbacks. We want them to be smart with the football. Manning's interceptions were up a little this year, but at the same time, he had no running game. He had to throw the ball constantly. So when you do that, you're going to increase your picks. I'm not too sure about Aaron Rodgers at number 5, though. I think I would have him a little bit up there.
Okay.
My top 5 is going to be a little different than yours because I'm looking at it as you're going into next year, which means another year older. So I did take age into a little bit of consideration going with these quarterbacks. I just don't think you're going to see too many guys like Favre where you're just playing lights out at the age of 40. I think it's somewhere along the line these guys are going to slow down. My number 5 actually is Drew Brees.
Okay.
He still is a top 5 quarterback to me, but I didn't like the turnovers this year. How he seemed like he forced a lot of balls in there and kind of tried to. Well, he looked like he buckled under pressure a little bit, trying to repeat. My number 4 is Aaron Rodgers. I know it's one up from you. He has been electrifying these last 2 years, but I need to see a little bit more consistency if he does it again, within the next couple of years. Which is no fault of his own. He might be number 1 if he didn't have to sit behind Favre for 3 years.
Now,
number 3 is Tom Brady.
Real quick, KT, on those 2, and ours are just flip flop. Same 5 and 4, just flip flop. Now, what would you say about those 2, and where would they be in your mind if I could tell you right now that they were going to have a great running game next year? Those 2 might be higher up on the list, don't you think?
No, absolutely. I mean, you do have to take that into effect that, when you have a bad running game, you're going to be forced to throw the ball. And, these defenses, when they know you're going to throw, you're going to get picked off more often than not than the guys who have solid running games behind them,
Oh, yeah.
So, they would definitely be a little bit higher if they had, stronger running games. So you saw Favre that year when he had the 33-7 with Minnesota because he was handing off to Peterson half the time.
Right.
Defense didn't know what to prepare for.
That's right. All right, go ahead, sir. When you're number 3.
Well, my number 3 was Brady.
We got him.
Another year older. Let's see if he can keep it up without a big play receiver. I mean, he did have monster numbers this year. It's only no picks, but a lot of those passes were short passes to the tight ends. Now my number 2 is Peyton Manning. Again, like you said, smartest quarterback in the league. Nobody prepares like him. I would like to see Indianapolis get some, weapons around them. I don't like the fact that they just think that they have him so they can throw some hand-me-down receivers in there with them and think they'll be okay. I want to see Manning, how he performs with elite receivers, more Rich Waynes out there in the field.
Now,
my number 1.
Hold on, before you're I know you're driving the bus with this number 1. I won't say it. I'll let you, but you're a bus driver. But real quick on that.
I'm driving the bus and you're sitting in the front seat next to me. It's Phillip Rivers.
That's right. It is.
To me, Phillip Rivers is playing the position of quarterback better than anyone in the league. He just has this will about him where he will go out there and he will make a play for his team no matter what. I've always loved Phillip Rivers since the moment he stepped on the football field for San Diego, and my love for him just went up even more than the '07 season when he went out there on a torn ACL and almost beat the Patriots in that championship game. Philadelphia was sitting on there with a color injury, basically. I love his attitude. I love his fire. I love his passion to win. I love the way he throws the ball to his receivers. He has that quick release. Reminds you of a little bit of Reno with that quick release and that sidearm funky delivery. And the guy just has this just competitive fire in him that you just don't see with a lot of quarterbacks. And that's why I have him at number 1 going into next year.
And I totally agree with you. And folks, once again, we did not do these lists together. We didn't talk about them beforehand. And we had the same 5 quarterbacks just in a different order. And I really feel like, and first of all, I'm shocked that we both had Brady 3. But I really feel like that you can rearrange these 5 quarterbacks in any order. And in my opinion, I don't feel you'd be wrong, really. I agree totally with you.
Absolutely not. You've got Manning at number 1. I've got no problem with that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the time he plays like the best quarterback in the league. Some of those times he's just a little inconsistent. I mean, all of them are. They all have their faults. It's just a matter of opinion and what you like and dislike about a certain quarterback, and that's where you would have them on your list. But yeah, we do that group of quarterbacks you and I both really like, and pretty much those 5 have same similarities as far as will to win and the way they prepare for games. All 5 of them are pretty much equal on that.
And we're going to throw out a challenge right now. If Mike and Mike or Colin Cowherd, if you hear the show, and because trust me, it's tweeted to you. If you hear it and you want to challenge your 5 is different from our 5, we'll compare, come up with a system. We'll take whatever challenge you got. We'll come next year, total wins. You want to do total wins. You want to do total completions. Whatever the case may be, we'll put our list up against yours. And if we win, we get 10 minutes of an interview on your show. How about that? So you guys shoot us an email at bjh12_2000 at yahoo.com, and we'll make that happen. Now, KT, did you hear a little bit about who got into the Hall of Fame today?
No, I did not. Who made it in today?
I don't have the total list in front of me. I watched it a while ago. It was pretty cool. 2 of the big names that did not make it in, and it wasn't their first year. The only one whose first year it was that didn't even make the final top 10 was Jerome Bettis, that's kind of understandable. I mean, he was a great back, but he wasn't really, first-round Hall of Famer, not by the way, any means. But Tim Brown and Chris Carter, neither one of them made the top 10 in the finalists.
Really?
Yeah. I feel bad for Chris Carter. I like him. We're both Fox fans. We're not either one of us really that much of ESPN or CBS fans, but as far as their NFL countdown, not as far as the overall product. But Chris Carter, he was a great wide receiver, was he not?
Chris Carter is in my book, one of the best wide receivers to ever play the game. Every time you watch Chris Carter, he was going to make a play on the field. He got that catchphrase. All he does is catch touchdowns. Well, it's true. That's all he did was catch touchdowns, and that's not enough to make a Hall of Fame. I don't know what it is. I mean, that guy was just a human touchdown maker, and he he took in a young Brady Moss. He mentored him on how to play the game and how to be professional. And Chris Carter, his whole career has just been just nothing but professional. And I don't understand how he's not in there.
And him and Tim Brown both were very similar. Now, one more quick thing. I meant to tell you this when we were going over our quarterback listing. I tried to call into ESPN today because I was going to ask Mel Kiper. I couldn't believe he didn't have Jimmy Clausen on his top 5 list.
Yeah, I do remember that draft and how much he loved Jimmy Clausen. Now, I will admit, I loved Jimmy Clausen the moment he got to Notre Dame because I really thought that he was just going to go in there and be a better version of Brady Quinn. And he had all the pedigree of his 2 older brothers, both played quarterback in college. I believe one of them actually made it to the NFL. I believe Casey Clausen made it to the NFL. Mm. I don't know what went wrong between Notre Dame and to the pros, because I figured when he was at Notre Dame, that team was behind a lot, so he had to throw in a lot of tight windows. They didn't have the best talent at receiver out there, and I really thought that he could make all the throws of the NFL. And
now
I don't know if it's a case of just maybe his talent was a little overrated, or maybe he's on a bad team, but I don't know. Or maybe it's too young. Maybe it's too early to pass judgment on him, but he did not have a good rookie year at all.
Well, he's probably going to be saying, hello, Blaine Gabbert, before long, though. Now, 2 things real quick. Now, you lived out there in Vegas. You know all about these prop bets. So let's first give our prop bet. Who is going to be the first score of the Super Bowl?
I really thought it was going to be, I really wanted to say Heath Miller originally, but I see it being like a short run into the end zone. So I think I'd either have to go Rashard Mendenhall or maybe even Big Ben on the QB sneak. For some reason I see the Steelers scoring first. So I think it would be a running touchdown if that were the case. So I mean, if I had to bet, I would say Rashard Mendenhall.
Okay, and I'm going to go with the same one I went with yesterday on the local radio. And one of the reasons is to get a little ahead of ourselves, but one of the reasons I think the Packers are going to win the game, I'm going to take Jordy Nelson matched up against one of those linebackers. That's going to be my pick. Now, I'm going to go ahead and give the first one, KT. I'm going to give my pick for the Super Bowl. And when we pick, we're going to pick against the spread, which the spread's 2.5 in favor of Green Bay. And the over-under is, I believe, right at 44.5. I am going to take the over, first of all. And I'm taking Green Bay, and I'm giving the points. And to be honest with you, if somebody wanted to bet a steak dinner, I would give them 6. And the reason why is I really think, and I hate to compare it to the regular season, but I think the Patriots laid out the blueprint of how to beat the Steelers, and I think those linebackers, as good as they are against the run, there's too many receivers on Green Bay that are just lightning quick. And you saw Jordy Nelson at K-State. The kid's good. So what do you got for us, KT?
Well, I do think you're right as far as Green Bay is definitely going to spread the field out and throw the ball. I know people are out there saying that, they have to run to be successful, but like you said, that Patriots game, there were not that many runs by the New England Patriots. It was just Brady dropping back, throwing 4 or 5 guys up per play, and he just tore them apart. A lot of that is going to hinge on Polamalu if he's completely healthy off that Achilles injury, and if he's able to take away the half of the field like he normally does. I do think Green Bay is going to cover that 2.5, and the reason I'm saying that is because I think they're going to come down and kick a field goal to win it. I do like them to win it. However, I think it'll be in the under. We've seen lately with these Super Bowls where I don't know if it's the 2-week layoff or the build-up. Now, last year was a little different because Drew Brees was just a surgeon out there, and Manning threw that pick. That didn't help either. I see it being at the under because these are the 1 and 2 defenses, and usually the way these Super Bowls go, the offense, for the most part, does not have that much success in these Super Bowls, especially with these 2 defenses coming out there. But I do see Green Bay going out there and and kicking a field goal and winning it 20-17.
All right, folks. There's our picks. You got it? Hey, this is Brandon and KT coming at you. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time when we talk a little about the Super Bowl and a lot about college. And folks, we'll see you next time.